If you support the three fingers, subscribe. What's going on, y'all? Sam here. I plan on showing both of my builds, but I'm gonna start with the high level build. All right, so here we go. Okay, this is a 250 build, 60 vigor, 50 endurance for the ability to carry the shield and wear heavy armor, or heavy-ish armor. 48 strength for the minimum requirement for the shield, 80 dex to hit the max soft cap for the most part for the Vyke spear, 19 int for the immutable specifically, faith at 37, could be 35 to be honest, but 35 plus 2, that also increased the damage output, and it increased the damage output better on faith than it did on strength, so I put it on faith. And arcane at whatever the bare minimum was for this. Oh no, correction, it was 10 because I think one of the magma casts needs at least 10 or something like that. Right, so there you go, you can see the stats there. 30s in the physical and like 25s ish in the all the other ones, with immunity being 358, robustness 381, and focus a little on the low end. It used to be higher, but certain nerfs in madness and things like that like caused me to kind of draw it back. For the most part, it doesn't make sense for me to use certain things. So let me get into the actual talisman and gear. Okay, Vyke's war spear, all right, another seal, and then the flame art Yurumi with bloodhound step. Right, so this is fire damage with bloodhound step in case I have to get out of the way of something, because when you invade, sometimes you get put in a shit situation. There's no denying bloodhound step's insane efficiency right now. It does need a nerf, but it is what it is. Okay, fingerprint shield, right, with no skill. Alternatively, I can change it and use shield crash. Okay, if I want to. Changing them on the fly is kind of crazy too, because a lot of people don't recognize that. They'll expect one or the other. Frenzy flame seal, again, I'll normally either double, but this is just in case I want to switch one hand to another, like if I want to keep shield and then cast with the right hand, or if I want to keep my spear out and cast with the left hand, whatever, it's there. And then just another whip, for the most part, just fire and physical. So this is just to pretty much work together in case I want to double whip. I'm running the nomadic merchants for the it's for the fashion, but veterans armor and double bull goats are not for the fashion. That's for poise and defense. I'm using Viridian Amber Medallion because the Great Shield Talisman was nerfed to all shit. It's useless in this build anymore, but having more stamina works out. So I'm using this in conjunction with the Earth Tree Favor for additional stamina, equipment load, HP, etc. And then I'm using Great Jars for further equipment load, and I'm using Shard of Alexander to do more damage on the weapon art. Shard of Alexander can be changed out to any of the other, maybe something else if you want to try something else or use anything else. Maybe Fire Scorpion. You lose a little bit of physical attack damage negation, and but you know, you'll get more damage. However you want to do it, that's fine. This is I feel like this will be the toss-up talisman. The others are in place and needed. I feel like the stamina one's definitely needed to continuously block, and I feel like Erdtree and Viridian both kind of complement each other. Iron Jar Shard, the Iron Jar aromatics that I use with the Living Jar Shards rather. My Flask of Wondrous Physic is set up like this when I invade. If it's not I'm invading, I would use Crimson Bubble Tier and Crimson Horror Bubble Tier, or Crimson Horror Tier, whatever the fuck it's called. I'd use both of those. I use Crimson Horror and then Crimson Bubble. I'm holding these. This is for heals, like after a fight or whatever, I'll just drop it on the ground to get a couple of heal, or I'll use it like, let's say I separate from an invasion real quick, and then I'll like kind of drop it on the floor and still like prepare for someone to walk towards me, but at least now I'm like also slowly ticking in HP. And a lot of people are not frenzy flame ending, so they'll catch madness when you catch health. Okay, so let's showcase the spells here. Bestial Sling and Home Bolt, that's a Faith Incant combo for the most part. You can do Bestial Sling, press up, and then cast Home Bolt almost directly after. Same goes for Catch Flame and Magma Breath. And what I would normally do is I would use Catch Flame and Magma Breath almost situational. If I know someone's going to try to parry me, I'd keep my shield out on my left hand, then I'd go to the right hand Incant, and then I'd Catch Flame, Magma Breath, and then also throw Flame of Frenzy, because at that point, they're rolling back or trying to roll back, and Flame of Frenzy has like a decent distance. So I'd use that. I try to use all three, but most of the time you'll use these two. Frenzy Burst, obviously. The Unendurable I use with the infinite FP thing when I do invasion, so that I can use Iron Jar and infinite FP, so that I can walk down on people constantly doing madness the entire time. It works out really good, especially in closed areas. Flame Grant Me Strength. This is a toss-up. Sometimes I'll put this as a Protection of the Erd Tree, which I don't know where the hell it is in here. Right there, Protection of the Erd Tree. But as of right now, I'm kind of feeling the Flame Grant Me Strength for the extra damage, but that could get changed out. Golden Vows, a typical buff, and Immutable Shield is a very important buff. It works like the blue buff that you've seen on the other build, but it stops you from getting bleed or rot or anything like that. So if you block a Scarlet Rot Dragon with your shield while you have this active, you will not get rot. If someone's attacking you with rivers while you have this active, you will not get bleed damage. So this is a big point of the build at this moment, the Immutable Shield, just to stop other people's status effects. And if you're, let's say, going head-to-head with someone who has madness and you're blocking with this shield, you will not get madness. Every time they poke the shield, you won't get the madness status effect. So it does work out. It's a good setup, and yeah, so I'm gonna get into the 150 build at this point. First, let's do it like this, because otherwise you're gonna get confused. I'm gonna pull this talisman off. We're gonna go back to status. Here you go. 55 vigor, 20 mind, 27 endurance, 43 strength, 37 dex, 12 in, 25 faith, and 10 arcane. So his build's definitely different. It's way tighter on points for the most part, and I am using a Radagon Soreseal, but that's like an extra like 20 points, and you can do this build without using the Radagons. You can move points out of faith into strength. You can move points out of endurance into whatever else you need for the most part, but understand that you are going to be even worse off, in my opinion, on this build if you do that. So yeah, all right, so let me put that talisman back on here. Okay, all right, so this is the thing. Vyke's War Spear, right, and then the Frenzy Flame Seal, and then a staff, okay, and then Fingerprint, and then a seal, and nothing else so far. I'm thinking about putting something else here, but I don't want to kind of manage the weight to put something else here, and right now it's pretty good. No helmet. Surprise, surprise, right? Crazy. That's the fashion statement of this one. Fingerprint armor altered without the cape. Okay, and then double veterans, gauntlets, veterans, greaves. Okay, you've seen me use the consort mask and then maybe change one of these out for like scaled or something lighter or whatever the case, like traveled. You do something like this. You know, however you want to do it, you get it seems like it's not a big benefit to do it regardless. It just makes more sense to have it like this, even if whatever. So this is it, right? All right, let me continue on. Okay, again, Great Jars, Viridian, Erdtree. I explained these already. Radagons for the 20 points that go into 5 go into vigor, 5 in endurance, 5 in strength, and 5 in dex, which are all three are pretty much primary stats of this build. So I'm using it, and it is a risk because you do take more damage, but I'm relying more on the shield to defend me from damage, so I'm trying not to expose myself a lot when I play. It's risky, but I do it. Is it gonna work for you? I don't know. Fuck with it. I don't care. Crimson Tear, Cerulean Tear, right? I use daggers. I use the Frenzy Flame Stone, same as the other ones. This combo is exactly what I was talking about. Crimson Horror and Crimson Bubble. That's exactly how I use them for better survivability. This build doesn't have the Unendurable Frenzy setup. It can, if you want to change one or two things around and put maybe some more points of faith or however you want to do it, you can do that and manage it. So, you know, that's on you. But I don't have the Unendurable Frenzy, and because of that, I don't use the infinite FP one, so I can constantly cast. And because of that, I also don't use Iron Jar Shard. So this doesn't have either of those. Okay, and back now to let's see the spells for the most part. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So we have Bestial Sling into Home Bolt, another combination, right? Catch Flame into Magma into Flame of Frenzy, right? Obviously, Frenzy Burst for distance or anybody running around or anything like that. And the buffs are pretty much the same. Flame Grant Me Strength, Golden Vow, right? And instead of a Mutable Shield, we have Scholar Shield, right? So we use Scholar Shield to reduce the stamina damage taken on the shield, right? And it provides better defense regardless against like like certain attacks and things like that. But it does not stop status effects like the Immutable Shield does. Immutable Shield requires more int. I can't squeeze that much in on this character, so especially not maintaining 150. So I'm using this instead. So that means that if I do get attacked by somebody who's using, let's say, Madness or using Rivers or whatever, I do catch status effects while blocking on this shield. But it causes the stamina loss to be much less. It allows me to maintain stamina better while still poking and blocking at the same time, because you're going to need a lot of stamina. Every poke is stamina, every block is stamina. So unless you want to get that shield broke nice and easy, you got to manage your stamina a lot on this kind of setup, in my opinion. And that's how I play, so it works for me. And then Crimson Horror, etc., etc. And I think I explained this one pretty good. I don't think there's much I have to get into on this one, because I think a lot of it comes from the first build. It's just set up differently. It's just a tighter squeeze for the build for the most part. This looks almost identical to the first one, except I think there was one more memory slot, and there was one more spell, but Unendurable can't be casted because it requires 31 faith, and this faith I think is 25 right now, something like that. Hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this helps you out if you do want to copy this build, or maybe make a hybrid of it, or just see how it functions, so you can, like, I don't know, counter against, do whatever you want to do. Just sharing the information, sharing the knowledge. Hopefully this helps somebody out, and enjoy, guys.